Welcome to the Saturday Night Live Afterparty. With the official rundown of Season 46 thoroughly reviewed, it's time for us to take a look at the sketches that didn't quite make the cut, because they were either too long, too short, or too Kyle Mooney. I'm Catherine Coleman, and I am joined this week by co-hostess with the mostest, Steve Finn. If you'd like to connect with either of us, you can do so at snlpodcast.com. Enjoy this full-length, supporter-only version of this week's episode, and if you like what you see, you can find all of our unabridged, ad-free video coverage of Saturday Night Live exclusively on Patreon and Subscribestar/SNL Podcast. It's our supporters who make this show possible, and we are so thankful to everyone who's already come on board. All right, here we go. Hello, hello, hello. How you doing, Steve?
Well, look who it is. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing good. Long time no see. You wrapped up your school semester now?
Quite in the middle of it while trying to juggle my job in the newsroom for CBC. It's been a busy time for me, but we're getting through it.
Yeah. That's exciting though. Congrats on that new gig you got going on.
Yeah. It's weird. I got to be way more serious at that job.
Yeah, well, that sounds very fun. But today we have 9 Cut for Time sketches to review. All of them are from the second half of the season. John and I actually covered the pre-Christmas ones already, and so we'll make sure to put a link down in the description so you can check that out if you missed it. And we'll also include links to all the sketches that we'll talk about today. But before we can get into these Cut for Time sketches, we have to talk about something very important. Do you know what it is, Steve?
Something to do with red locks, I imagine.
Something like that. Yep. I want to tell you about a podcast, a very, very funny podcast called Ginger on Ginger. It's a free-flowing comedy podcast hosted by 2 of Montana's most award-winning redhead comedians. Each week, Jacob and Alex offer the ginger perspective on a new topic with an irreverence that would make Conan O'Brien blush. Occasionally joined by non-gingers such as upcoming guest and SNL alum Brooks Wheelan. You'll want to tune in to hear Brooks rank his favorite national parks, hear Alex recount his many near-death outdoor experiences, and listen to Jacob serve up some spicy tea on all of the drama of his small-town home. You can subscribe to Ginger on Ginger on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. You can also support them at patreon.com/gingeronginger, where you can get bonus episodes, online game nights, and set the topics for upcoming episodes. So check out Ginger on Ginger wherever you listen to podcasts, and don't forget to bring your sunscreen.
I'm definitely tuning in for the small town drama.
Yes.
That's the best cup of tea you could have.
Mm-hmm. I'm tuning in for Brooks Wheelan.
That too.
That'll be great. That sounds very fun. Now, what do you think? It says he's going to rank his favorite national parks. What do you think his number 1 will be?
Ooh, he seems like a Yosemite guy.
Oh, yeah? I was going to go Yellowstone. Is that the same thing, or are they different?
I have no idea. I'm pulling this right out of my arse right now, so no follow-up questions,
Google.
Please. Stay tuned, folks.
Yes, they are 2 different things, and they are 647 miles apart. Great radio. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get into our Cut for Time sketches.
Yeah.
Up first, are you a man, but also someone who wants to look good? Try Man Stain. It's not makeup. Steve, this one was cut from the Dan Levy episode. What'd you think of it?
It's a good execution. It's a very well visited subject, taking something that's a little less than masculine and applying that masculine marketing to it. We've seen it from time to time. I still like this one because, Dan Levy's personality was perfect to question the branding choices. And yeah, without Dan Levy, it might just be like, oh, this is another that one they did with The Rock, for example. I can't remember the product name. Yeah, this one still wins for me because Dan was just a perfect touch onto it. And yeah, perfect for his go around as host.
Yeah, this one was fun. It's very much in the same universe as like GE Big Boys. Uh yeah.
For
This
sure.
isn't like you said, this is not a brand new idea, but it's still a fun one. I love anything that plays with like fragile masculinity. I have a good time with that, making
Right.
fun of those dudes a little bit. Uh And I think they found some really great specifics here, like, of course, the blush is gonna be in a gun, the eyeshadow is pepperoni scented, like, I think they did great thing in the props department really, really did a good job. I think the thing that I would have liked to have seen were some more varied reactions from Dan, 'cause it kinda stopped surprising me halfway through, like, I wish he would've maybe just reacted in a different way, and I don't necessarily have a good pitch for what that would have been, but I feel like that would have helped it just get a better second gear.
Right.
Um, but I definitely had fun with this one, and like you mentioned, like, it's very Dan Levy, so of course.
Yes. But
And he
if
actually
it
has a writing credit on this one, so
Oh, okay. No, that makes sense. It definitely has his voice plastered all over it. I see why it's cut just for that lack of originality angle.
mhm,
Dan Levy's presence is great in any sketch that that he's going to be in. So that's
right,
not a good enough reason to keep it in the lineup.
right. Yeah, I think it was probably a fair cut.
Mhm.
Okay, let's keep going. Kyle just has one quick question for the cast.
Do you think I'm a loser?
How'd you feel about this one?
This one was especially painful. It's a bit of laughter, a bit of cringe, bit of, empathy.
Mhm,
Kyle's insecurities are, they're unbearable, but there's some truth to them. There's people that feel this alone and this desperate, and it's the whole tragedy plus time thing that makes this funny. I think like a lot of us can look back at times of our lives where we were a little more insecure, and this might be an exaggeration or a magnification of that, but I think it rings true
mhm.
for a lot of people. And there were so many great like little background jokes in this. Did you notice the back of the t-shirt, for example? It was like 2 seconds. But
Yeah.
yeah, he had like the fake character names that he made
Mhm.
up himself there next to like Wayne and Garth and all these iconic characters. So that was funny to me.
Yep. Yeah, this is really fun. My first question, like, when I watched it was, "Where do I get this t-shirt?" Like you mentioned. Uh,
There's 100 of
they
them.
they should have sold them. Maybe they did. There's always a chance it appears in the NBC store, but it probably mostly went to cast and crew.
No,
Um,
Ego's family got them all.
oh, yeah. Big family. Uh But, this was really, really good for fans of the show. Like,
Mhm.
you and I had a good time with this, and it was, just goofy and weird and awkward enough. But I think for the casual SNL viewer, this probably pushed a little too far into the uncomfortable territory. Like, this all of these sketches that Kyle does that are in this, like, SNLCU are uncomfortable, but this one took it, like, 2 steps further, and so I can definitely see why they were like, I don't know I don't know that the standard Saturday night viewer needs to see this. We'll just upload it to YouTube."
Yeah. Yeah, this was like you said it in your intro, just a little too Kyle.
Mhm.
And as much as I love that, I totally get it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure on this because I didn't check the time while I was watching it, but it felt a little long, and I don't know if
Mhm.
it was just so uncomfortable that it was like 2 minutes. It felt like 10, but yeah, it was a little long, and it felt like any cuts would hurt it even more. So
Mhm.
yeah,
It
maybe
was
this is
4 minutes, so yeah, it was pretty long.
yeah. Let's keep it on YouTube where I can watch it anytime I want. I'm just happy
Mhm.
that it's available.
Yeah. I'm glad we're living in this era where they can just upload this to YouTube and things that get cut aren't lost forever.
Yeah,
What a great time to be alive.
yeah. Like why even have TV? Let's just have
Just don't even do the show, guys. It's fine. It's
yeah,
fine.
just post it on YouTube. Like, let the tapes run, and then post it later.
Yeah, that's what Lauren wants to hear. All right. So Kyle and friends, rightfully cut for being too awkward and too specific for fans.
Guilty as charged.
All right. Up next, two easily impressed bachelors get a home makeover. This one was from Nick Jonas. Is this a winner?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they picked up on some things that were really astute, and I've seen it a million times, but just never had the observational skills of some of the people writing on SNL. The stark white walls was a pretty interesting connection to make with that kind of mentality, that lifestyle, and the just the poster placement, the things they chose to put on that that shelf with the infinity gauntlet and all that.
Yep.
It was just like, yeah, 40-year-old virgin. And what I liked about it is that, it wasn't the boys themselves settling on this. It was, someone designing it for them. And they basically, uh, they basically achieve what these guys would do on their own with like just a little more panache. Like maybe they gave them a ketchup bottle instead of the packets and things like that. But it's still very, very much like meat and potatoes, man. And yeah, it's that juxtaposition and mix match of like reality television style with something that's just not very pretty for television. And here you have this.
Yeah, this was a good observation. Bachelors live in a way that makes no sense to me. Like you'll just walk into a man's home and it's like a recliner, a television, and like a bed, and that is the only three things he owns.
I was watching that like, why wouldn't you do that? That's just perfect.
And that's the difference.
I'm only going to have one friend over at a time, and we're both going to face the same direction, not talk to each other and watch television.
Yeah, I mean, you are sitting in front of what, an 80-inch television right now?
No, I'm at Studio 8H, Catherine.
Sorry. I didn't mean to break the illusion.
I love it here.
As for the sketch, I think it was fun that any little thing they thought was impressive, and I just wanted them to go a little further. So you can't go too over the top because you don't want to actually like trick out the apartment because that kind of breaks the game of the sketch. But I feel like they could have had like maybe in the bedroom it's like, and we got you a lifetime supply of condoms, and then they open the drawer and there's like 3 in there, and Kyle's like, yeah,
Well, it's twice as many as I need.
Or like, they put a bunch of empty bottles on top of the cabinets. Like we got you empty liquor bottles for decor, to show off how hardcore you are or whatever. Like I just feel like there were some more little things that they could have done with it, that would have heightened more.
For sure. I expected something of a derailment that never came. And maybe it's just SNL has done that for me many, many times. This generally held together and stayed consistent in tone and intensity. So yeah, we could have raised the stakes in some way, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think that's what it was missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Nick Jonas episode was really good. So, I think this was a good cut it call.
Yes. Probably an easier decision. That was a good episode.
All right. Well, let's keep going. In this pre-tape, Nash accidentally volunteers to go on a one-man death mission. This one is a Chris Red vehicle that was really good from the Daniel Kaluuya episode. Steve, what'd you like about it?
I like Chris Red monologues. I love this vehicle, as you call it, that he has for his stuff. It's a really great ride, I find. It's very serious and played straight up until they throw in that wrench. And whether it be like, the teacher disagreeing with Marcus about his genius status, or him coming to realize how complicated drug smuggling is. And, in this case, we have the one man mission reveal that just changes this on a dime. Like 1 second, we're watching the Five Bloods, basically, and then all of a sudden we have just like a comedic breakdown of tropes, and it's great. It's great because Chris plays it so well. They had great backup from Keenan there. The punchline at the end was great. Really love that the commanding officer was willing to take no for an answer the whole time. Yeah.
Right.
Lots of stuff to enjoy here. This is probably one of the sketches of these Cut for Times that we're talking about that could definitely remain in.
Yeah, this one was really good. It was shot really, really well. Like, I don't think this definitely wasn't a low budget pre-tape. I mean, I guess they probably shot it in the studio, so that helped. But it was fully dressed, and I mean, it looked very, very legit. So huge shout out to whoever directed it. Chris did a fabulous job. Just knocked it out of the park. I love it when Chris gets to lead a sketch, like the one you mentioned with the drug dealer. Chris is really good at these kind of these characters that they don't know what they don't know. Like they have no idea how much information they are missing.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a good like weird specific that the Vietnamese will try to shoot up your butthole.
I love
and the way-
I love all the little things they just made they added in to make this mission as dreadful as possible.
Cross Meat Grinder Ravine.
That's where that brother got his junk blown off.
Yep. Thank you for that.
Then you'll make your way to Sniper Ridge.
Cool.
Now this area right here has no enemy soldiers in it
I like that.
because of the tigers.
Never mind.
And then it's a straight.
Yeah, they found such good things, such good little things to pepper in there. I think it was maybe a little bit long, but this is one that I imagine was a tough cut. The Daniel Kaluuya episode was had a lot of highs in it. That was probably one of the more popular ones of the season. So we ended up getting 3 Cut for Time sketches from it. So obviously they were really having fun with him and had a hard time letting go of these.
Yeah. Like it says something that so much of the stuff that didn't make it to air was still worth putting online, at least. That shows that they were just working with a big pot of quality.
Right. Yeah. There was too much good stuff.
A great problem to have.
Right? All right. Up next, the man writing Beanie Baby Tag bios is clearly going through something.
Sick of being the funny one, always desexualized by friends. Wobble wobble, there I go to bed again with no nudes. Might as well be dead. Send nude or unfollow. My birthday is June 22nd.
And this one, again, from Daniel Kaluuya, and actually Julio Torres came in to guest write on this one. So what'd you think about it?
I love that little guy. Yeah, it was standing in the shadow of Toxic in the Community. That was the heights, I think, that we'll reach with this sketch. I like the Beanie Buddies angle, or Beanie Babies, sorry.
Yeah, get it right. They're very valuable.
The Beaner Bagels. Those are fun, quirky little write-ups. I remember reading those. And they found something that's very, very wholesome in nature, something that it in no way welcomes that kind of language or content, and here we are. So
right.
They found a good vehicle for it, but I think it's always going to feel like a rehash of Toxic in the Community. That's what I'm calling it. I don't know if that's a good name for the sketch. It's just the line that stands out for me.
Right.
But it was still pretty great. I liked 80's little sign off there where she calls the factory to cancel all the Beanie Babies for some reason.
Yeah, that was off the rails.
Yeah, just the melodrama of that whole sequence was pretty out of left
then
field.
Kill them.
That is probably some. If that made it to air, I bet you that little bit would have been excised. Don't ask me why. I
Probably.
think like if they had to cut a few seconds off, it would come from that weird ass ending. But I like
that would make sense. Yeah. Yeah, this absolutely lives in the same universe as like the Sarah Lee sketch, which I also think lives in the same universe as like the Barbie Instagram.
Oh yes.
And I love all of these. I think they're so great. They're so uniquely like Julio. And Bowen has kind of a similar style too, and wrote on those. I just think that it's so fun, even though it's just kind of joke buckety. I always have a good time with it, and like it's just the nonsense that they come up with is so great, and like those weird specifics. These it'll always win for me. You're right. I don't think it's quite as good as the Sarah Lee one, but I'm definitely sad this didn't make it to air. Though I understand because it's definitely one of those ones that my mom probably would be like, that one was weird, It's not for the average viewer. So I get it. I'm very grateful that it got to live on YouTube though.
For sure. Absolutely. And I'll just take as much of Daniel Kaluuya hosting as I can get. One of the best
Yeah.
hosts of the season.
All right, well we have one more cut from the Daniel Kaluuya episode, and this one was actually pitched by Daniel. Salt Bae invited the ladies to spank his meats at this trendy new restaurant. How'd you feel about Salt Bae?
I'm processing it a little differently now. I didn't know Daniel Kaluuya pitched it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great idea. I have had a lot of fun, watching Salt Bae and just giggling at his aura, how serious he takes himself and all that. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a real viral personality. Like you can't cast that. You can't create that. That is a dude. That's a real person. I love Beck's portrayal of him. I thought he just made that facial expression perfectly. And I love the choice to keep him a silent character, almost like he was some kind of restaurant mascot. But
Right.
like, you would have to take some liberties to start like giving that guy lines. I've never heard the guy talk. He's always just chopping his meat and putting salt on his forearm. Yeah. So I like that they just kept to, what you see of him in his YouTube and just like put that weird behavior next to the ones with dialogue and have them just react to it. It's it's a glorified reaction video where instead of just watching the YouTube video and reacting to it, it's there serving you your steak.
Yeah. I think it was a really smart move to have him just be silent and play into the mysteriousness of Salt Bae.
Yeah.
That's sort of the best thing he has going for him.
Just imagine if he came out like, I am Salt Bae, and like started to do this husky voice thing.
Yeah, like that wouldn't have been nearly as much fun. Like
No.
it's like I believe Daniel's character said, like, I'm getting magician vibes from him.
That was perfect.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, that's it.
But I love how into it everyone else is. Like they have seeked out Salt Bae.
Yeah.
That's really fun. And then, it heightened so perfectly to Cecily spread eagle on the table getting salted.
My
I mean,
God.
what more could you ask for in a sketch? Like, there's no crazier place to go than that. I don't know how you even come up with that.
Cecily has been the camera angle queen this season. Barflies.
Yep.
The Barflies Awards where she walks directly into the camera.
Straight to it.
Yeah, she's really given up herself this season for physical comedy. Whether it be bathing in wine or salting your nether parts, whatever that may be.
Yeah, Cecily could be a contender for MVP of the season for sure.
So we should talk about the very organic reveal of David Beckham in the restaurant. That was very obvious choice to make in that moment, I think. What am I missing here, Catherine?
I um, I don't know that there is any that it's in reference to anything other than just like, of course, those two would be there.
Okay.
Um, uh, I think it's just like they do weird things and would be at this trendy restaurant, but they wouldn't participate. Like they're too fancy for that.
Fair
Uh,
enough.
yeah, I think it's just it gets to the point in the sketch where you say, okay, where to go now? Who else would be at this restaurant? And then they came up with those celebrities.
Yeah, that was a head scratcher, but
Yeah.
that's probably all it is.
I enjoyed the unexpected appearance there because I was on board with it. I was like, of course, yes, I like this. But let's look at this first one from the Keegan Michael Key episode. This rapper has something to say, and it's that he's sorry. Very the gentler side of rap diss tracks. What'd you think about it?
That was pretty good. Wasn't my favorites, but there's some stuff to like here. The whole reveal of the "I'm sorry" bit, that was good, and they managed to go other places with it. As quickly as you think that might run out of steam, they put in a really compelling subplot with the baby mama, and kind of stepping in as a stepdad, and the details of what he told the police keeps developing. There's stuff to like pay attention to, and it was quite entertaining to go along with it. It was really performance based, so Keegan really had to. I don't know. It was selling it, but also not selling it, because
Mhm.
obviously a gangster rapper is never gonna apologize like this on a diss track. So like, what does that look like? I think Key got something that works pretty well, because
Mhm.
like I still believed him, but yeah, I was still able to laugh at just the absurdity of someone like this apologizing and taking that moment to just do the opposite of what these guys usually do.
Yeah, I can't imagine a different host pulling this off like Keegan did.
Yeah.
It was definitely for him. Uh, Interesting. You said that you didn't like this one as much. This is a contender for one of my favorites. I thought there was a lot to like here. I was surprised. I thought, I wasn't sure what way it was going to go. Was he because there's a lot of setup here, so you can tell there's going to be a turn. And I was like, is it going to be that he's a really bad rapper? Is it going to be like he does disses, but like they're not really disses? Like maybe he's like they're like backhanded compliments or something. Um, but then he said, "I'm sorry," and I was like, "Oh, I didn't see that coming. That's really fun." And then the next move is like he's at Walmart buying a flat screen TV, just like living his normal life. Like I like that they just normalized like he's this gangster rapper, but he's like, I had to leave my cart in the parking lot. Like I think that's really fun. And then they started piling on to Chris's character, like the bad guy in the sketch of like, yep, and I'm with your baby mama. And I told the police, and your kid called me dad, and I didn't correct him. Like I thought there was such good stuff here, and just layering that story together slowly. I was having a great time with this one.
I mean, I'm not to say that I didn't either. There's just a couple others that maybe slipped ahead.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, I think if we're looking at it solely merit based, I think this one maybe should have stayed in the episode. I understand, obviously there's more to it than that as far as the literal timeline of the show, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm sad this one wasn't in the cut. I think there were some ones in that episode that I liked less than this for sure.
Okay. For real,
Hot
eh?
take, maybe. I don't
For
know.
real.
Let's talk about the other Keegan Michael Key cut. Two men compete for women's affection by sending strange gifts from the bar. This one was bizarre. What'd you think?
Bizarre indeed. But I'll tell you, the design of these weirdo characters, it felt very original, but not random.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I could actually meet a guy like that. if I
Yeah.
if I walked into enough strange places. I'd
If you
probably
walk in the right bar, yeah, you'll stumble upon this guy.
yeah, for sure. The fur jackets, the long hair, the odd behavior. Now let's talk about that because the behavior of these characters and how it escalates throughout the sketch. I think that's what the real magic here is.
Hmm.
Leading up to stuff like the fake makeout, but he's not turned around.
Right.
Yeah, lots of great stuff here. I was kind of getting mad at the wait staff for enabling these guys and just bringing over whatever uh these guys wanted them to. Like at no point they're like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
I don't know. As a guy who worked in the restaurant industry for years, I think it's too
Yeah,
far fetched to me to see because I would never do that. I'm like, dude,
I
I got a real
enjoyed that
job
the
to do.
waiters were like weirdly down for it. You know, they were like speaking for them, like, oh, and like narrating what they were doing. Like, I thought that was just like weirdly funny.
It was a lot of fun. I'll
But,
give it that.
but yeah, like these characters seem like well fleshed out. They thought about these guys. He of course like he brought oysters from home. You know, that just feels so right for this character. Um and I thought that was just such a great little thing to just really tell us who this guy is. And then like the progression of it, like you said, is just so clear. And they found such good places to go. So like, it takes a minute before we see that there's a second guy, and I'm like, oh yes, of course there's a second guy. And then they're competing, and then they have a knife fight.
Right.
Dismuke's character must die. Uh, so yeah, I had fun with this, but I didn't think it was fabulous. So it's a fair cut in my
Fair
book.
cut. And who would have known that Bowen would carve out such a niche playing crazy hobos on the show? Like that was not something I thought he'd be feeling when I learned of his casting.
Yeah,
But hey,
that's
I'm here
true.
for it.
All right. Up next, the cast pitches Anya Taylor-Joy their worst ideas for Queens Gambit parodies. If I remember correctly, Steve, you have not seen the Queen's Gambit. Is that correct?
No, but I'm definitely going to be tuned into the next season after this sneak peek.
Did you know enough about it to get the sketch, like the joke of it?
Well, I feel I've seen enough Mr. Bean to recognize Mr. Bean when he
Fair enough.
appears, but I don't know. I guess like I've seen trailers and like that style of it is very very recognizable. So
Mhm.
I could tell that they were nailing the visual aspects. Obviously they had Anya Taylor-Joy, so the dialogue, the all of that was there.
Mhm.
As far as I can tell. I'm just glad that SNL can do a sketch like this because what it means is that they rarely try to push something that just isn't a good idea. They don't
Mhm.
try to stuff things in a box. If they can make something work, they'll make it work. But like if SNL was always reaching like this and trying to just like do a parody for the sake of parody, we'd probably watch this sketch and be like, you guys aren't very self-aware. But I feel like SNL doesn't have that problem. So like they've earned their right to make a sketch like this where they kind of poke fun at them at writing, and it's perceived as a slight at themselves, but I don't think they make sketches like that. This sketch confirms me that they know what to avoid. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, I wonder how much of it was like inspired by maybe they did sit down to try to come up with a Queen's Gambit parody. All their ideas were terrible, so they're like, let's just go meta with it, you know? Like I've definitely been on like on my sketch team where someone pitches something, they realize there's no way it'll work, and then it just becomes this meta joke that we could write a sketch that is the pitch meeting, you know?
Right.
So I'm intrigued to know how based in reality this is. But I think it's super fun. We all expect the Queen's Gambit parody, and we ended up we got a little bit of it in her monologue, but this was clearly meant to fill that niche. And I think there's something really fun about hearing the bad idea, knowing that's a bad idea, but then getting to see like 5 seconds of it,
Oh,
of how
yes.
it would turn out. I think that's so great, and I love that they spent the money and the time and everything to produce those little clips.
Yeah.
Because that's definitely what sold it. 80 with the chess piece was my favorite one, but that I just love that they did that. That was fabulous to
Oh,
see
yeah.
those.
Imagine if they were shooting that on location and you just walked by, saw it out of context. Like just Mr. Bean playing against the Queen's Gambit lady. You're like, wow, SNL's really jumped the shark if this is what they're going for. But then you see it's meant to be a bad idea.
Right.
But you still got to show up in costume with the sets and film
Yes,
it
you
as
do.
if that was like your genuine idea for a sketch.
Yeah, I thought this one was really fun. And I think they should have kept it. I wish they would have kept it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
If for nothing else, the fact that I wasn't satisfied with just the Queen's Gambit reference in the monologue. I wanted more of a Queen's Gambit parody. So
Okay.
maybe that's on me. Maybe that's a me problem and not an SNL problem.
For
But
me, I was
had
happy
fun
to
with
just
this.
get that as the reference because having not seen
That's
it, I was
true,
like,
yeah.
please don't challenge me.
That's fair. That's fair. And it was also, I mean, that was a good episode with good energy to it. So I could see where, another pre-tape could have messed up the flow of the show.
Another host I'd like to see again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we have one more cut
Dave.
for time from her. 2 duos perform on Star Quality. And I wrote it out like I was going to sing it. And then I forgot how the song went in the sketch. So here we are. What'd you think of this one?
Yeah, this seems like a 10-to-1 type of sketch. I don't know if it really did it for me, but there were some very strange, weird moments. I probably liked 80's performance towards the doll the best. And there was kind of a face-off or a reaction off, if you will, between Keenan and that doll, where they were cutting from his face
Yeah.
directly to the doll. For something they lean on a lot with the Keenan reaction, having that
Mhm.
intercut with another extreme close-up was it was a pretty good use of it. But yeah, it was just strange. Like it didn't seem really tied together all that well. Like it was just a couple of different elements.
Mhm.
Felt like, we need something to fill this 2 minutes. We need something to fill this 2 minutes. Let's just come up with something random and move on.
Yeah, it felt weird there wasn't a third duo. I didn't want to watch a third duo, but it seemed weird that there wasn't one.
Yeah. Bowen probably had the best line with, and I'm Han her level. Yeah.
Yes.
That was great.
Yeah, this was fun. Definitely 10-to-1 territory. But I think part of the issue is you can kind of boil the whole game down to people in talent show are weird and bad. Like
Mhm.
there's not something very specific about it that they're playing with. I think that probably would have helped it get along. Because while like Kate and 80's thing was good, like you said, there's just no connection to the next one. There's no real ending here. Um, yeah, it
Yeah.
was definitely missing something. And I liked Bowen and Anya's thing the best, which is surprising for me to say. Because you know how I love Kate and 80 together. But
Yeah.
I mean, they're like Bowen and Anya had like the choreography, and that was really fun. It reminded me a little bit of Bowen in the USO show from the Kristen Wiig episode.
Ah.
But yeah, missing something on this one. Didn't love it.
Yeah. No, not the heights of the season.
Yeah. A good cut.
A
For sure.
good choice there.
Good choice. Okay, well, that is the last of our cut for time ones. So now we have to determine which one is the best of the rest. We'll talk about just the best of these 9, and then we'll do an overall season best of the rest. So,
Okay.
Steve, what's your favorite of these?
I'm going to be going with the hero. I think that sketch was probably the best out of this list, I'd say. It was really funny, first of all, but the production quality and really nailing that aesthetic of the Five Bloods was really
Mhm.
impressive. And like I said, Chris Red's performance was great. I'm looking forward. It's going to be bittersweet when Chris leaves the show because
Oh, yeah.
we'll soon after probably get a Chris Red hosted episode. And we can get like a
That's true.
whole episode of stuff like this, and I'll
Mhm.
be a happy camper.
Yeah. I mean, the guy works really hard. Like, he's always got side projects going. So there's no way he'll leave SNL and then not immediately have something to promote.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna have to drop dead for that to not
Mhm.
happen. And Chris Red's a young, healthy man. He ain't going anywhere.
All right. The hero was very well produced. That was a very solid
Well,
sketch.
yes.
I'm going to go with a different one from the Daniel Kaluuya episode, and it is the Beanie Babies.
Okay.
I just have such a good time with these. I think they're so fun. Uh, just tapping into that kind of language and like the community and like because people talk like this on Instagram and Twitter sometimes and it doesn't make any sense to me. So I just love that they're able to use that so effectively. And yeah, they really cracks me up. And these are ones that are very up the alley of my friends as well. So like, it's very quotable like in my friend group. So that adds to it as well.
No, that's a good choice. You got good reasons.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel validated. So from the first half of the season that John and I reviewed, we determined the best of the rest of those, and I think there were only 4 or 5 of them. But John picked Middle Aged Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, and I picked Democracy PSA, which was it was right before the election. I think it was cut from the Mulaney episode. It was about like, yeah, democracy's gonna be okay, but everyone was like secretly stockpiling things because they knew that it wouldn't be. Um, and then Middle Aged Mutant Ninja Turtles, of course, was the second installment of that cartoon that we first saw at SNL at Home. So with those two, plus the hero and Beanie Babies, what would you say overall for season 46 was the best of the rest?
I think I have to stay where I'm at. I really
Fair enough.
enjoyed teenage. Oh, they're not teenage. What am I saying?
Oh yeah, they're middle aged.
The
Sorry.
middle-aged Mutant Ninja Turtles. I enjoyed that a lot. It was a great second episode. It was a great way to expand on the idea. I like what they did for the second time around. It had legs for that. I just really enjoyed the hero sketch. I thought it was really well done. Plus, it's more of an SNL collaboration. I feel like
Mhm.
an animation, like there's a lot of freelance work being done on that. I would guess.
Right.
Like there's people
Probably.
that don't necessarily work on the show that are animating this. And sure, it's our cast members who are doing the voices, but it feels a little bit removed from the show.
Mhm.
Just like TV Funhouse. They'd literally like rip SNL off of the screen and Lauren Michaels would run after the dog. This feels like that level of distance.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
that's fair.
yeah, it's a lovable, wonderful sketch, but I don't think it would change my top one.
Fair enough. I'm really torn. Obviously it's between my 2 picks because
All
I
right.
picked them.
Well,
But
you just let us know, Natalie Imbruglia. when you have it figured out.
I like Beanie's Babies for the sake that it is more timeless than the Democracy PSA. But at the same time, I like the Democracy PSA because it captured so perfectly what we were going through in that moment.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really, really fun and really clever, the turns they took with it and the subtleties involved. So I think I'm going to go with Democracy PSA. Beanie Babies is one I'll probably watch more often, but I just think the Democracy one did such a good job, and I was very disappointed that one was cut from the show. I remember watching it the next day and saying, that should have been in there. That was better than most of the show. I felt frustrated about it. And yeah, it just spoke so clearly to that moment in time, and that's one of the things that we kind of look for SNL to do, right? It's a topical show that they're writing every week, so it has the unique chance to be able to comment on these things as they happen. So yeah, Democracy PSA is my best of the rest.
It was a good choice then. It remains a good choice. So
Thank you.
I salute you and respect your wishes.
All right. Well, we have now officially reviewed every sketch released and produced for season 46. How you feel about it? You tired?
I'm ready for another season. Do we
Always,
really have to
always.
wait all summer?
Yeah, we do. I just finished the second draft of my SNL submission packet, so I'm happy to go into tomorrow not thinking about sketch for a week.
Yeah.
I send it off to people. I'm like, give me your notes, and I don't have to worry about it for a few days. So, I'm thrilled for a little bit of a break.
Oh, you've deserved it. You've been working hard.
Yeah, thank you. But it's been great to discuss all of these sketches with you, Steve, and all of the guests that we've had on the show. And for this episode of this Cut for Time review, I think that's a wrap. Thanks to Steve Finn. And thanks as well to our most generous patrons, Sam Bowers, Neil Weinstein, Justin Gardner, Grace Kogan, and Brian Clark. If you're enjoying our show, please subscribe on YouTube or wherever better podcasts can be found. Your subscription helps us grow, and your support is greatly appreciated. We'll be back next week with our post-season extravaganza. But until then, this has been episode number 139 of the Saturday Night Live Afterparty podcast. I'm Catherine Coleman. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.